Are you ready for the most unbelievable twist of this racing season? Imagine crossing the finish line, claiming your victory, only to have it taken away hours later. But why? That's the burning question. What really happened behind the scenes that led to the controversial disqualification of Hamilton and Leclerc from the US Grand Prix? Stay with me as we unravel the mystery that left the entire racing community in disbelief. And be sure you can subscribe to our channel with notifications on so that you always stay in the know. Now, let's get right into it. Our drama unfolds at the Circuit of the Americas. Picture this: Max Verstappen cruising to his impressive 50th career win. And just when we thought the drama was over, an unprecedented curveball gets thrown. Just hours after the race, the FIA's eagle-eyed technical delegate, Joe Bauer, makes a revelation that turns everything upside down. Out of the many cars that zoomed past the finish line, 4 were chosen for a crucial post-race check: Hamilton's, Leclerc's, Verstappen's and Norris's. But why? The answer lies in a component introduced to F1 cars way back in 1994, the skid block, or the infamous plank. This plank is designed to ensure cars maintain a safe distance from the ground. But just when Hamilton and Leclerc thought they'd sealed their positions, Bauer dropped the bombshell. Their skid blocks were out of line, breaking the very rules that keep the sport fair and thrilling. Hamilton and Leclerc, champions in their own right, faced the unimaginable: disqualification from the Grand Prix. This unexpected twist catapulted Norris to a coveted P2, while Sainz, Leclerc's own teammate, took his spot on the podium at P3. So what exactly did Mercedes and Ferrari do wrong? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of it all. Both Hamilton and Leclerc's vehicles violated Article 3.5.9e, yes, you heard that right, of the 2023 FIA Formula 1 technical regulations. In simple terms, this rule says the plank's assembly's thickness should be 10mm, give or take 0.2mm. Over time, due to wear and tear, a minimum of 9mm thickness is acceptable. The rules strictly check for compliance at certain specific points on the plank. This implies that there's only a tiny window of 1mm allowed for the plank to naturally wear down during a race before it enters parc fermé. Anything beyond that is a big no-no in the F1 rulebook. As the stewards dished out their disqualifications, they pinpointed 2 primary factors: the challenging terrain of the Americas circuit and the constraints of the sprint format. This format limits changes to the cars and curtails the time available between crucial sessions. In a surprising statement, the stewards revealed that both the elite teams, Mercedes and Ferrari, agreed with the FIA technical team's measurements. They believed the extreme wear on the skid pads was due to a combo of the track's bumps and the tight sprint race schedule. Driving the point home, the stewards emphasised the responsibility lies squarely with the teams to ensure their cars adhere to regulations throughout the event. The car's rear skid, as highlighted in the technical report, surpassed the allowed wear threshold as detailed in Article 3.5.9e, and the consequences of this oversight: the standard protocol was executed: disqualification for both star drivers. Dive deeper and you'll see how the sprint format threw such a wrench into the mix of the powerhouse teams, Mercedes and Ferrari. During a sprint weekend, parc fermé conditions kick in the instant a car rolls out of the pit lane for Friday's qualifying. Here's the catch though: it greatly limits the adjustment teams can make, especially changes to the critical plank. This tight structure means that cars are locked into their configurations throughout multiple events: Friday's qualifying, the sprint shootout, the actual sprint and the Grand Prix. If, for any reason, teams like Mercedes and Ferrari goofed on their ride heights, possibly due to insufficient high fuel testing during the weekend's sole practice, they'd be stuck with that error. Any attempt to correct it beyond what parc fermé rules allow would cost them dearly. They'd have to forfeit their solid qualifying session, like Hamilton's P3 or Leclerc's enviable pole position, and face the dreaded start from the pit lane, a fate that befell Haas and Aston Martin at the Americas. Now, this might get you thinking, what about their teammates, Sainz and Russell? Why did they escape scrutiny, especially when plank issues surfaced on 2 cars? Here's the scoop: just because one racer in a team is under the microscope doesn't automatically mean the other faces the same fate. And if you're wondering why not all cars underwent the Planck check, there's a reason. Time constraints make it impossible to scrutinise each vehicle before they're swiftly packed and shipped off for the next race. The random selection for checks, though, is intended to keep teams on their toes, discouraging any sneaky rule violations. Once the disqualification news broke, Ferrari sporting director Diego Laverno detailed their misstep. Our car was below the minimum threshold by a few tenths of a millimetre, but enough to bring the stewards to consider our car illegal. The sprint weekend is very peculiar. You have very little time to prepare the car, basically only one session, FP1, and then you go into Parc Fermé. We knew it would have been tricky, and this is the reason why we also lifted the car throughout FP1, and from our consideration, it should have been okay. As a matter of fact, it turned out that we were anyhow too marginal, and also, because of the wind that changes direction and had a stronger intensity that was forecasted, this brought our car to be not at the legal end. With hindsight, rewinding the weekend, we may have lifted the car even more, but we could have lost performance. And, as you know, we are here to optimise our own performance. On the Mercedes side, trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin voiced their sentiments. We are, of course, naturally very disappointed to lose our podium finish. Unfortunately, it is one of the pitfalls of the sprint format where we have a solitary hour of running before Parc Fermé. Without running at race fuel load in FP1, combined with a circuit as bumpy as this, and the parts of the track where the drivers have to put their car during the Grand Prix, have contributed to the higher than expected wear levels. We'll go away and learn from this, but also take the positives from our experience as a whole. Mercedes lead figure Toto Wolff chimed in succinctly, asserting that they'd have to accept the disqualification gracefully, stating, "We have to take this one on the chin." So, where does this leave Mercedes and Ferrari now? It goes without saying that no team enters a race with a disqualification in mind. To be clear, there's no inkling from the stewards that there was any deliberate breach by any team. However, Ferrari emerged from the controversy in a slightly better position than Mercedes. Before the disqualifications, Mercedes with Hamilton and Russell were looking at P2 and P7 finishes, while Ferrari, Sainz and Leclerc were on track for 4th and 6th. This would have meant a 24-point haul for Mercedes and 20 points for Ferrari. Post-disqualification, the tables turned somewhat. Sainz's elevation to P3 got Ferrari 15 points, while Russell's P5 brought 10 points to Mercedes. Adding the sprints points, Ferrari edged ahead, garnering 24 points to Mercedes' 18 for the weekend. The ripple effect: Ferrari is now just 22 points shy of second-place Mercedes in the Constructors' leaderboard, and with 4 more Grand Prix weekends on the horizon, including a pivotal sprint in Brazil, the stakes have never been higher. What do you think of this twist, and which team do you believe will end up taking second place overall this year? Let us know in the comments below. And before you go, if you want to stay updated with all the latest twists and turns of the F1 world, make sure to hit that like button, share with your fellow F1 enthusiasts, and be sure that you're subscribed to our channel, F1 Racing Now, your inside track to all things F1. We'll keep it revving for more thrilling content. See you in the next one.